Before you can create a healthy relationship with others, you first have to create a healthy relationship with yourself. Welcome to Let's Talk About It with your host, Dr. Janie Lacy. Janie is a nationally respected psychotherapist, and on this show, she and her featured guests will help you discover and break patterns in your life that can contribute to self-sabotage and unhealthy relationships. Now, here is Dr. Janie Lacy.
Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It with Janie Lacy. You know, it doesn't take a rocket science to know that the coronavirus crisis is rife with stressors and challenges that would shake up even the healthiest of relationships. Maybe the pandemic is acting as a pressure cooker for relationship problems you already had, or maybe it's serving as a playing field for new, unexpected discoveries. Hell, maybe the pandemic has even been good for your relationship and it's kind of thrown you through a loop, as in Star Trek, where no man has gone before, is a phrase made popular through its use in the title sequence of the original 1966 to 1969 Star Trek science fiction television series, describing the mission of the Starship Enterprise. The complete introduction speech spoken by William Shatner as Captain James T. Kirk at the beginning of each episode is, "Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before." So today our guest is going to help us understand lessons we can apply from his hit TV show on WeTV's Marriage Bootcamp in order to enjoy a healthy and happy relationship. Dr. Ish Major, one of America's top psychiatrists, he's an author, he's a dating expert, he's the co-host of WeTV's hit series Marriage and Family Bootcamp Reality Stars, and he's a frequent guest host on The Doctors and a resident expert on Access Hollywood Live, Steve, The Today Show. He's appeared with the likes of Kourtney Kardashian, Carrie Fisher, Brooke Shields, and Carmen Electra, where he brought his expertise to WeTV's Exile as they helped couples break free from past relationships that were holding them back. He's also been featured in People, In Touch, O Magazine, Women's Health, Cosmo, Match.com, Shade 54, and Sirius XM, and so many more. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Dr. Ish Major.
Hey, Janie, how you doing, Doc?
I am doing well. You know, we are so excited that you are here with us. So, you know, in your experiences working with high conflict and toxic couples, you know, and all through the years, what are some common themes that you can share with us right out the gate that you've seen over the years?
Common themes, you know, and you know this, most couples argue about the same 2 to 3 things 70% of the time, right? Most couples never have a new argument. It's always about the new thing that reminded them of the old thing, right? And most couples, so that's the first theme. Most couples, number 2, everybody says, well, we just don't know how to resolve conflict. I see a comment, money, yeah, exactly, right? And so that's it. Most couples argue about the exact 1 or 2 things, which is who loves who more and who's in charge. Think about every argument you've ever had as a couple. Who loves who more and who's in charge? I texted you 20 minutes ago. You never text me back. That means I must love you more than you love me, and that's a problem, right? Or who's in charge? Directions, where we're going, what we're having for dinner, where the kids going to go to school, all of these things. And so that's the main thing. And then everybody always wants to talk about the buzzword conflict resolution, right? Well, look, we're human. And if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that we all do not resolve conflict well at all, right? But as a couple, most couples don't get in trouble because they don't resolve conflict well. They get into trouble because they never acknowledge the conflict in the first place. And so those are the kind of 3 of the main themes I usually see over and over again.
So, you know, we are in this pandemic, Dr. Ish. So when spending COVID-19, people are in quarantine time with their mate, who they said, I do. And it can be challenging. And I think we can all agree. So we heard the need right out from many people that they can play games together, such as Monopoly, puzzles, and plan individual time to keep their insanity. But after they've done all these things, I mean, what else do you recommend besides sex to get to know the stranger in your house?
Yeah. You know, it's, I like the I like the idea of always asking the next question, right? We all have these basic conversations as couples, as partners, and it's, oh, well, let's watch, this thing. Okay, great. Why you want to watch it? Oh, well, because I like this actress. Oh, really? Why? What do you like about her? Right? Not in a challenging way, but just in a curious way, right? Remember, Doc, back when you first met the one and you were dating, you couldn't ask them enough questions about what they like and why they like it, because you were trying to get inside their head so you could know what makes them happy, so you could know what you could do to help them be happy. But after a year or 2 or 5 years or 10 years, we start to run on automatic and we assume that we know. They start to assume that we know, so they stop sharing and we stop asking each other questions. And so that's, most of what we're going to do as a couple is we're just going to talk and be friends. Right? It's not going to be sex. It's not going to be the argument. It's not going to be trips. It's not going to be, most of what we're going to do is just be friends and chill out. And friends talk to each other and they're curious about each other. So remember to be curious. Just ask the next question. Oh, really? Why is that? Oh, you know what? I think I want to wear this outfit today. Really? How come? Well, because I'm feeling sexy. Right? You would be amazed the conversations that happen when you just ask the next question.
So get curious, look at your partner and ask them some questions.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be complicated.
Right? And curiosity is the biggest form of flattery, right? There's nothing, I don't care how selfless we are, how professional, there is nothing we love more than getting to talk about ourselves. It just feels good.
That is true. So if you need some help, you can look at some questionnaires. Gottman has cards. There's lots of things to get the couples to spark those conversations, get to know each other again. Yep. So you've been, Dr. Ish, you've been on WeTV, Marriage Bootcamp, and so many shows. And I believe you and I got acquainted with each other when we were doing the Bill Cunningham show years ago.
Yes.
New York.
Oh, yeah. My man, Bill. Oh, yeah.
Good old Bill. Those are fun days. So can you help the audience dissect and understand the basic lessons to learn from other people's mistakes doing all these shows? So please tell us let's say your 3 common concerns you've noticed, and how can people work hard to not land in that position? But now let's break it down easy as you get ready to digest this knowledge, those that are listening and watching, and get us out of that basic Dr. Ish 1, 2, 3 answers. Maybe you can do it love and hip hop style.
All right, yeah. Not for this season. We don't want to take any lessons from this season. Okay, so I think the first thing, right? Everybody says it so much, Janie, till it doesn't have even any meaning, right? I don't know. We don't know how to communicate well. No, we've all been speaking words since we were 3. You know how to communicate well. What we don't know how to do is listen, right? That's our problem. And you have to know how to actively listen. See, as I'm talking right now, you're looking at me, you're making eye contact through the phone, you're shaking your head up and down. I feel like you're hearing me, right? And so that's the take-home message. She's hearing me. That makes me feel good. Because in any relationship, right, especially a romantic relationship, there are only 3 things we all want. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be understood. Think about it, right? That's all we need to feel good in that day. I need you to see me. I need you to hear me. I need you to understand me. And the thing that goes along with that is you gotta listen to me. I gotta know you're listening. And so I see couples, they come in, we're anticipating the hurt. We're anticipating the attack. We've had this fight and I'm listening for the buzzwords. I'm listening for your go phrase, because I know at any time you're gonna say, wait a minute, let me tell you something, right? And as soon as I hear that, now I know fight's about to be on. So I got my shield and I'm just kind of waiting to see when so I'm not hearing anything you're saying. And so we've got to really take time to listen to each other. That's the main thing. And then the second thing is, remember this person is your friend, right? They're just, friends are kind to each other, right? Friends don't want to hurt each other. We get into well, you did it to me, so now I can do it to you. Or you didn't give it to me like I wanted it given to me. And so I'm going to give it to you, right? And so we get stuck into that tit for tat cycle. But remember, this is your friend. There's some things you're going to say that they can never unhear. There's some things that you're going to do that you're never going to be able to really truly build that trust back once it's there. So remember, this is somebody who you want to treat nice, right? You want to be kind to and sweet to and tender to. Take yourself out of the equation, right? Most of the things that people are doing it ain't about you. It's about them. We live in our own heads. And so think about that. Then the last thing is always remember, and I'm big on questions, right? And so always remember in any situation where you think they're coming for you, you think they're not loving you right today, just stop and ask yourself, what else could it be? You know what, Janie, I texted you an hour ago. You hadn't texted me back yet. That must mean, right, you don't love me. Maybe you're busy. Maybe you got somebody else. Right? All of these things that help prove to me that I'm not enough for you. What if it was none of those things, right? What if you were just busy at work? What if you had something going on with your kids? What if you had some project that jumped on the table and you had to get that done and really couldn't focus on it, right? All of these other things that don't have anything to do with me not being enough for you, right? Just stop and ask yourself that one question, what else could it be? And it'll save your relationship, because we all suffer from that disease, not enough-itis, right? Who I am isn't enough for them. And once you start thinking that is the worst feeling you could have in a relationship.
So everybody wants to be seen, heard, and understood.
Absolutely.
And then think to yourself, what else could it be? It doesn't necessarily have to be me.
Right. What else could it be?
Right. So reminds me of, and couples really understanding and having, to a certain degree, a PhD in each other's history, right? Because that not good enough-ish could be coming from your childhood wound and all that stuff to kind of resurface. So giving each
something
other.
Your mama taught you, something your dad taught you, because he wasn't around. I wasn't enough to be lovable, right? We're always looking for the evidence that we're lovable. And these days, we're always on guard for the evidence that we're not lovable. And as soon as we see that, boom, all bets are off.
So we are looking for the evidence that we are not lovable. So that will confirm our deepest fear.
You got it. And once that's confirmed, then we're gonna react poorly.
So then talking about reaction, I know that you said there's not a lot of lessons you want to share with us from this season, but even in the midst of chaos, in the midst of everything that you've, I was watching one of the clips from you, and literally you getting in the middle of a couple. I was like, gosh, I know, I could only imagine the stress. So with that being said, I mean, what can we learn from the chaos and just all the stuff that happens? And why do couples even like drama? I mean, when you kind of think about, I know, yes, it makes good TV, but in real life, couples are drawn to toxic.
Well, we're drawn to the thing that we feel is going to make us whole, right? And so we all know where it hurts for us. We all know, oh, you know what? I'm not really good at telling people no, but I can get with this person and they're really good at it. And so that makes me feel whole, right? And so we're all subconsciously being drawn to the personality traits of somebody else that will make us feel like, I may not be whole on our own, but together we can show up as one complete person. And that is just a recipe for disaster, right? Everybody talks about, well, it's got to be 50-50. Yeah, I'm going to bring my half. If you're only bringing half, you're about 50% short, right? You got to bring your whole 100. And so that's one of the big things. I think, what we're seeing on this season in particular is that we all want the same two things. We want love and connection. And if I can't get the love, I'll settle for the connection. And if I can't get the connection in a loving way, I'll settle for getting it in a very harsh way, right? And so a lot of our couples will settle for the fight, because as long as you're engaging in a fight, then I still know we're connected. Even though it's not the connection I want, it's the connection I'll take in the absence of anything loving. And so we're seeing that a lot with our couples. They're really struggling to stay connected in a very loving way. And when they're engaging with each other, it's coming out in a very, very harsh way, very violent way, very physical way, which is unacceptable on both sides. We've just got so many unhealed traumas in that house.
So a couple of things I got to break down, because you said a lot there for a minute.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, we should not believe the lie with Jerry Maguire that you complete me. Nobody can complete you. So we need to
do not get sucked into that rom-com foolishness. That's not that is not real life. No.
So Dr. Ish, we got to break the news to people. It doesn't exist.
No, that's not it. That will do you no good. That will lead you to the national average of divorce in 3 to 5 years. That's what it do. Yeah.
So let's leave that lie. Don't believe the lie.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I heard you say is about connection. So if people don't know what healthy connection is, they will settle for toxic connection, because from what you're saying, it's still connection.
Right. Janie, one of the saddest patients I ever had in my life was a young African-American woman, mid-20s, college grad, had a great job, had good credit, had her own place, had her own car, and she had a boyfriend who would drive her to work every morning in her car and then go back to her place and watch Jerry Springer for the rest of the day until she got home, right? Very common story. Every Monday, she would show up in the office with a new bruise because every Friday he would find a reason to go off, right? That whole thing. But her situation was so different from a lot of what you and I see, which is a lot of women, mostly women, some men too, but mostly women who are stuck in that position, right? I don't have the financial means to do it. I don't have the support system. I literally don't have a way to escape. Well, she had all of those things, right? Family hadn't given up on her. She had sisters, she had a mom, everybody was engaged. They had means, all this thing. And I was like, let me just ask you, what is it you tell yourself that makes it okay for you to continue in this pattern every week? She was like, well, if he ever stops hitting me, how do I know he still cares? Right? So it's a connect. It's not the connection we want, but it is a connection because we all want to know that I matter enough for somebody to engage with me.
And that's why we should never judge people in those situations.
Right.
And that creates shame, and then they stay hidden because to your point, that is what they know. And that is connection. He wouldn't do this if he didn't love me. He wouldn't do this if he didn't da-da-da. We can fill in the blank. So very, very common. And I think it actually prevents people from getting the help that they need because they are ashamed in that sense.
Domestic violence, it grows in the dark. The only way you defeat it is shining a light on it. As painful as it is, nobody who I've ever had to make the call to, whether it's Child Protective Services, the police, nobody's happy, right? She's not happy because life is disruptive. He certainly isn't happy because life is disruptive. If it's a case where the child is caught up in it, kid's not happy because they don't know what, but we don't have the luxury of trying to make everybody happy. Our job as professionals is to do the right thing, which is to shine a light on it so we can try to help extinguish it.
To shine a light so we can help distinguish it.
Yep.
So with that being said, I've had previous guests, Dr. Ish, who have given our listeners and viewers dating tips, strong marriage model. We had somebody talking about neurology of the brain development and function as it relates to love, spiritual warfare, faith walk, all of that. So then Dr. Ish, please take a moment, and I want to hear you finish that simple sentence that love is, but love is also not. What would you share with us?
Love is kind. Love is patient. Love is caring. Love is seeing, and love is holding. Love does not hurt, right? That's just, it doesn't hurt. It may sting because love is also being truthful, but it never hurts, right? And love is unconditional, and love is unwavering, right? There's no way I don't need you to wear that thing every single time in order for me to love you. I don't need you to have this level of money in the bank. I don't need you to look this certain way with your body, right? There's nothing I need you to do because I just love you, right? And it's not a conditional thing. You don't have to check these things off the box in order for me to love you today. And so I think it's again, everything that it is, and it's all dependent on what we've seen, what our models are, what did our moms show us and dads show us, and friends and things like that. But the thing it doesn't do, it is not fearful. Love is not fearful. Love is not hurtful, and love is not conditional, right? And the thing that we all really need to know these days is that love is absolutely guaranteed. Nothing you got to do to earn it. I showed up. I was born. Here I am. Give me some love. That's it. That's it, right? There's nothing else you got to do. But we get, but the world teaches us that, oh wow, on this magazine, I don't look like that person on the magazine. I don't look like Idris or Denzel. So what about me, right? I don't make them as much money as George Clooney. So what about me? I don't have this list of talents that people on TV have and that we celebrate. So what about me? And so we're all looking for the evidence that, am I lovable? Am I? Am I? And more times than not, we get presented with evidence of why we're not. And so we really just fall in that vicious cycle.
So love is also accepting.
Yes.
That's the word that comes to mind as I hear. It's
Yep.
accepting.
Yep.
People can push
Yep.
us and help us to grow and to be our best
Yeah.
self, but it's also
Yeah.
accepting of who we are.
Right. Right. Exactly. And that's the main thing, because again, we all want to be seen, heard, and understood. And I not only, and so, right, because we all show up with these masks on, right? When, we go to work, we got to suit up. I got to put on the thing. I got to put on the uniform. There's this person I got to be to go to work. But what we find is that over time, it's so much work to keep taking the suit on and taking the suit off, that when we get home, we don't even take off the suit of armor then. We just keep it on, right? Because this is going to be another whole type of battle. And so what we really struggle with is how to be vulnerable, right? How do I let myself, how do I trust this person enough to let them see all of me, right? And not only, I would love for them to accept it, but how amazing would it be is once you took that mask off, you take that suit of armor, you put it down, how amazing would it be if not only that they accepted you for everything they saw, but they actually loved you for it, right? That's the thing we're all looking for,
It reminds me of Claudia Black's definition about intimacy. Intimacy is I'm giving you the weapons of my self-destruction, but you're using it to protect me and not destroy me.
Right, right. You're going to value it. You're going to cherish it. You're never going to turn them against me. Yeah, yeah. And that's trust, right? And that's, so think about those small, one of the catchphrases, these microaggressions, right? Think about those things that happen in relationships, friends or romantic, where you're like, you know what? They didn't really treat that thing I gave them well, or, they didn't value that, or they didn't keep that in privacy. And so those little microaggressions, they just slowly erode the trust more and more and more. And then you wake up one day and it's gone.
And then it's gone.
Yep.
And then they come see us.
Right. then they come see us and tell us all about it. Yep.
So, in your book, which I just absolutely just love the title, roll right into that, The Little White Whys, right? Because we're talking about people coming to see us. Those are usually the questions exactly they're asking. Why this? Why did he do this? Why am I this way? So can you break down the burning question that females ask when faced with the fact that they've been lied to? Just talking about it from a female male perspective. So why do men lie to the ones they say they love? And, it's a very common question from females. What does Dr. Ish have to say about that?
Oh, it's a very simple reason why guys lie. Well, because we want you to do the thing we want. We don't want you to say no. We want you to say yes. And so for a guy, right, we're not all about the process. We don't want to touch. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to go through the feelings of it. We just want the end result, right? So if the end result is, I want to go on a date with you, that's the end result. I'm going to say whatever I need to in between now and the date to make that happen. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that is my Mercedes out there. I lost the keys, so I can't really start it up and show it to you right now. But trust me, that's mine. And I work at that big bank downtown, even though you never see me go in or out of it. Forget about that, right? And so it's about not trusting that the person they see is enough to make them want to move forward, right? Again, it's the disease. It's the not enough-itis, right? That's why we lie. Because I think if I share the truth with you, maybe you won't like me so much. And if you don't like me so much, you won't be around me so much. And if you're not around me, how am I going to get that love from you? If I don't get that love from you, maybe I won't get that love from anybody. And oh my God, if I can't get that love from anybody, I'm not going to do well, right? And so it's all going back to trying to get the love that we feel like we need. And so we're trying to secure that in a very disingenuous way, because we feel we got to trick you into it, because really I think that who I am isn't enough to get it on my own. And so I'm going to lie and try to get it this other way.
So essentially what I'm hearing you say is men will lie to protect vulnerability and present, going back to that mask self, because been taught that that mask self is what females are going to want. They're going to want that Mercedes. They're going to want that I have all my stuff together.
Right. Right. That's what I see in the movies, right? That's what I see on TV. That's what I see in all these magazines. Everybody's got their stuff together. Well, I'm not that, or, I'm some of that, but I'm not all of those things. So how do I get it? Right. So that's getting into the relationship. Now, once you're in the relationship, we start to tell different types of lies. We tell the lies of omission, right? Those are, hey, darling, how was your day? Guy answer, fine. It wasn't fine, but he's withholding now, right? what, is there something going on with you? Nah, I'm okay, right? So we start to shut down and we start to withhold. That's a whole different kind of lie, because once we're in the relationship, the thing we hate to do the most is to let our partner know that they're not making us happy, right? And so we just want to avoid that whole ugliness and that whole conversation, because, it's funny how date 1, date 2, date 3, we can't talk enough about what it is we need and want and are looking for in a relationship. But once you are in long-term committed relationship, year 1, year 2, year 3, you don't want to touch it, right? Because you don't want your partner to feel like they're not showing up and making you happy. So we forget how to talk about those needs and wants.
So then it goes back to, I can't be honest, and I can't be vulnerable, right. Then I can't be honest. And then right. There snowballs right. The toxicity and the dysfunction right. In the relationship.
Right. I can't tell you how those jeans make your butt look, because I'm going to get crucified. I can't say it, right? Because you're going to get mad, we're going to have a fight, and later on, I'm not going to get the love I need, right? Mm. It's all those simple, it all goes back to us trying to feel good. Over these last 6 months, now more than ever, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to show up and feel good in the moment. Life is going crazy. There's so much I can't control. I don't know if I'm going to be okay today. How do I get the love I need right now? And so we avoid those conversations like the plague. And for guys, for sure, if it's going to be an emotional conversation, he's going to do everything possible to avoid it, because we don't feel like we can get into it and get out of it and continue on to have a good day.
And then there goes that dysfunction.
Yep. Just came right out of the closet. There it is.
Just open the door. Come on right in. Mm-hmm. So then how do couples, let's say they are to that point where they realize they're not being honest with each other, they're coexisting with each other, they're now years into the relationship, they're connecting everything that you said over fighting, over poking holes at each other. How do couples come out of that? With working at all these shows and like, what do you see? Like, what's the thing that clicks for most couples when they want to, okay, they get it now and they want to change that cycle? What do you see?
Courage. You got to have courage, right? You've got to, this is the courage that comes from the belief that who you are is enough to be loved, right? Mm. On no day am I supposed to show up and not be loved. Right. And so that's the thing. And that takes courage. And you've got to do some things to believe that. And so it's like a tennis match. You're going to hit the ball over the net. If they hit it back, great, fine, right? You're going to share something. You're going to share something that could be painful, but they hit the ball back and it wasn't as painful as I thought. Oh, wow. Okay. That gives me that now I can trust to share a little bit more and share a little bit more. And, a lot of couples, they wait until they get to the end of their rope and they're like, okay, fine. Last resort before I'm out the door, I guess I'll just be honest. And then something magical starts to happen. Once you're finally honest, you start to give each other information that you can use to see if you can still make each other happy.
So essentially, couples are protecting themselves over something that they are fearing is going to happen. And the very thing they fear is the very thing they need to save them. And that is to be honest. If I'm honest with who I really am, right. And I will get eventually that love that I feel like I deserve.
Right. In relationships, it's always the thing that you're scared to say the most is the very thing you need to say the most.
So then essentially when you talk about courage, because courage builds action builds courage and courage builds action, that they now take these risks and they can stop performing and auditioning for love and just really right. Be themselves.
Right.
It sounds so right. Simple, Dr. Ish.
Right. It is. But the world has taught us it's hard, right? Because all the images we're confronted with, whether it's on TV, magazines, online, it tells us, hey, I'm not like these people all the way, but so they've got it. So in order for me to have it, I've got to be more like them. And that's the cycle we get stuck in, and it all leads to that disease, that never enough-itis. Am I enough for you? Am I enough for you? That's the worst feeling in the world. Anybody who's ever been in a relationship and had that relationship end, whether it's, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, husband, wife, whatever that situation is, the day you think in that relationship, wow, who I am is no longer enough for this person. That's the worst feeling in the world. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of defenses we erect to keep from having to feel that way,
So when couples are coming into therapy or coming into counseling, or the ones that you're working in group therapy, it's the defenses essentially that that you're seeing when they get to that place, so to speak?
As the folks in hip hop say, those defenses are on fleek, Doc. On fleek. Defenses are lit. Are lit to the ceiling.
Dr. Ish has to go see his own doctor after hip hop.
Yes, on speed dial, absolutely. Oh.
But it also sounds like we're gonna take a commercial break here in a minute. But it also sounds like that there's imposter syndrome that also comes, and then they're both kind of coming up against their own imposter syndrome, which also adds to the flavor of the dysfunction. Right.
Well, because keep in mind, right? So they're celebrities, right? And so it's never just the two of them. It's the two of them and their 100,000 folks on Twitter, and their 500,000 on Instagram, and another 2 million on Facebook. And so there's all, like you said, they're always performing and auditioning and playing to the crowd when you really only need to be playing to each other.
So then kind of getting used to performing and auditioning becomes a way of life, but it's also a dysfunctional way of life.
Very dysfunctional, because it never makes you happy, because you can't share your true feelings with each other, and you feel like there's nothing you have that's going to be kept private. So you're always filtering, okay, but if they find out, then how does that look? And so let me alter what I'm about to say and share in this moment.
And that sounds very tiring to keep that type of mask.
Exhausting.
Exactly, exhausting.
Exhausting.
Well, we certainly are having a great conversation with you, Dr. Ish. So we are going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back, and I am going to ask Dr. Ish, what are some of the common questions that women need to know when they start to get to know someone? So we'll be right back.
Are you often attracted to unavailable partners? Feel like you can't stay but can't leave a toxic relationship? Obsessed with thinking about a current or former lover? Feel resentful that you're always taking care of the other person? The Woman Redeemed Therapy Program is for women who want to break free from toxic relationship patterns so they can find the love they truly deserve. This program is a safe, nurturing environment essential for building self-worth and acquiring the tools to work through challenges and create your best self. We invite you to begin the journey today to start building the new you. Call 407-622-1770 or visit lifecounseling.solutions.com. That's lifecounseling.solutions.com. You are listening to Let's Talk About It with Dr. Janie Lacy. To reach the show today, please call into 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Janie at lifecounseling.solutions.com. Now back to Let's Talk About It.
Let's talk about it with Janie Lacy. We have our guest, Dr. Ish, and he is talking about it with us today. So welcome back to the show, Dr. Ish.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so a lot of the ladies, they want to know. So what are some of the common questions a woman needs to ask when she's getting to know someone and she don't want to waste any time anymore? She's saying foolishness no more, Dr. Ish. So what does she need to know when she's getting to know somebody? Let's help some ladies out tonight.
Okay. No foolishness. Is there somewhere you have to be tomorrow? Like at work? Is that right? Is there something you got to roll out of bed before noon for? Let's talk about that one, right? That you need to know, right? It's a thing. Unless he's independently wealthy, we all got jobs, and so you want to know that, right? You can ask about kids, right? How many kids do you have? Or you ask that question. That's going to have a direct impact on the amount of time he's going to get to spend with you, and it's going to clue you in on what's going to happen in the event should y'all have. Right? Lepers don't usually change their spots. We are creatures of habit. The thing we did the last time is the thing we're probably going to do this time, right? The way we do the one thing is the way we do most things. And that is super true when it comes to guys. So ask about that. Do you have anything that I might catch from being around you? Like a case or a charge or a left hook or some type of STD. I need to know these things, right? We're grown. We got to have these conversations, Doc. I'm not here for the herpes. I am not here for the gonorrhea. I'm not here for any of that, right? I need to understand that. And then we can make an informed decision moving forward, because there's some barriers. I might not be a no. That might not be a hard stop for me. But now I know that there's some barriers we can put in place and we can move forward as adults. Don't trick me into the thing only to have me find out later, because guys always think, you know what, the least I can tell her now, by the time she falls in love with me, she will forgive all of the other stuff she doesn't know, right? And so that's just the wrong way of thinking, because all that means is there's just going to be a mountain, more and more things that she cannot trust because you didn't share it all up front. And so, ladies always want to know that first date, right? What can I talk about? What can I not? Right? There's some taboo subjects, no, there are no taboos. There is nothing, absolutely nothing you're going to say on that first date that's going to scare your mister right away. Nothing. There's no question you can ask. There's no subject you can intimate towards. There's nothing you can tell him that you're expecting that's going to scare away the guy who's right for you. Because if he is there and he is ready, he wants the questions. And he wants them to be hard, because what he wants to prove to you is why he's the guy who earned the right to be sitting in this seat and not the other guys who you thought should have been there, right? And if he's ready, he wants those questions. And when you don't ask him, when you show up and you have the general blah, 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 la, la, la conversation, he comes back and he calls his boys on the way home. And he's like, man, I don't know what happened. I thought this would have been the thing, but she wasn't that interested. She didn't really ask me anything hard. Right? And so never be afraid to take the deep dive, right? He's there for the same reason you're there, which is to make a connection. And you can only do that by being all of who you are.
So the first thing is women should not be afraid as grown folks to ask for the papers.
Ask for papers. Get them papers up front. Get them up front, right? Show me, kick a screenshot it, bring it with you to dinner. We're going to talk about it over appetizers. Right, we're going to exchange papers. Here are mine, here are yours. Let's see what we got. Ask for that. We got to protect ourselves. Don't try to trick me into it. Allow me the dignity and the trust of making an informed decision by informing me about who you are,
Absolutely, absolutely. And then if it's the right person, and it is going to be the person, you can ask whatever questions. So there's not necessarily like you see magazine articles, you see different shows where they try to curate different types of questions to ask on the first date. But Dr. Ish says you need to ask what you want to know. And if it's the right person, they're going to still be there.
He's there for you. He's not there for the girl he read about in Cosmo or Essence. He's not there for that. He's there for you, right? I'm on a date with you. I want to know what you want, right? And as ladies, set the expectation, because the thing he's looking for, he wants to know what's the opt-in, what's the asking price. You know what I mean? This is a nice house. How much are they asking for it? You know what I mean? This is, okay, what do I need to do? I need to text every day. I can do that, no problem. What else? You want me to call you every couple days? Okay, not a problem. I can do that. What else? Face-to-face dinner every week? Right? We're listening for the thing that lets us know, can we make you happy? That's the only reason we're there, right? If you let a guy know those two things, what he needs to do to make you happy and why you need him, he's yours for life. But he ain't going nowhere, because the reason he keeps showing up, even though some days he's acting like a knucklehead, some days not, he's showing up because he thinks he can make you happy. So, but we're guys. Just because we love you, we can't read your mind. So draw us a roadmap and say, hey, you know what, my big strong man, if you could do this, and this, I am great this week. And he's going to give you all of those things because that's what he wants to do. We're little boys inside, right? Remember, if any ladies that have sons out there, right? Remember the first birthday card he brought home from kindergarten with the macaroni and the name spelled backwards and all. It's like, happy birthday, Ma, right? And you look at it, it's a disaster, but you're like, oh my God, it's amazing, right? We're men, but we still want that reaction, right? We're still trying to please the most important woman in our life, right? Which is now you. And so let them know what you can do to make that happen. Don't make him guess about it, right? We're not in high school, right? It's not that whole magic romantic comedy thing. Draw that man a roadmap and let him know exactly what is the navigation route to your heart. That's all he wants to do.
So then in that case, we're talking about healthy dating, right? Because, sometimes I'll hear women argue about, I don't want to give him the playbook because I'm going to give him the playbook. I'm going to teach him essentially how to play me. But that would be someone who's not that would be from a toxic standpoint. So it is healthy to give men the playbook, especially if it's healthy.
Yeah. So that, right. So that's a statement that comes from a place of fear and a place of lack, right? My experience has been that when I share all of who I am with people, they use it against me and it hurts me. And I don't get the love that I need. So what I'm going to do moving forward is not share who I am and make them figure it out. And if they figure it out, great. But if they don't, once it unravels, it won't hurt as much because I wasn't as vulnerable anyway. Right. And so that's just, so now you've set the bar from now you're at not at 100% love, not at 80%. Now you're down at 60%. I'll settle for the 60% out because, that don't hurt as much when it walks away when I had the 100%. So that's just a matter of settling. That's how you do the logical thing in your mind, right? Your mind is the thing that rationalizes. Your mind is the thing that generalizes. Your mind is the thing that makes excuses. But no matter how many excuses you make, your heart always feels like it's being cheated out of something it really, really deserved.
So then if she gets past the first few dates, she should match the same energy that he's putting in.
Yeah. Bring that energy. Bring that energy. And so the magic number is date number 3, right? You got to get him to date number 3. If that's the goal. And here's why. Every guy knows if he's fallen in love with you after the 3rd date. Don't care where he's been, what he's from, what he got, what he don't. Every guy knows if you are the one he's going to be falling in love with after that 3rd, whether he tells you or not, whether he shows you signs or not. Believe me, he is on the phone. 6 months ago, he would be at the place with his guy friends talking about, man, you know what? I'm thinking, I don't know. She might, right? He's having those conversations because he knows, because guess what? And here's the astounding thing. It's going to blow your mind. Not yours, but theirs. Guys like to fall in love too. They do. Guys like to be in love too, right? They really, really do. And so they know. And so you want to get to that 3rd date. But again, don't censor yourself. Don't feel like I've got to fit into this box to make him like, nah, you want him to like you. You want to be seen. Let him see all of that, right? Because he's making decisions just like you're making decisions. The more information you both have, the more clearly you can make that decision, right? Well, what if you put yourself in this little box and you were this way for the first 3 dates? Not really all of who I am, but on date 5, 6, and 7, you let him see all of it. He's like, now what happened? Who is this now? Right? So up front, the sooner you can let him see all of you, the better that is. Because what it's going to do is going to save you a lot of time, a lot of aggravation, and a lot of frustration down the road, right?
So show up, be real, ask the questions. After the 3rd or 4th date, making sure you're matching whatever he's putting in, match that energy, and you should be good to go, at least from that point.
and never be afraid to say the most important word in your dating life. Next. Because everybody ain't going to be the one, right? You don't want them all to like you. You don't want them all to love you. You're not looking for the million people to love you. You're just looking for the one, right? So never be afraid to say, hey, no, this is not weird. I got an email from a patient the other day. She was like, listen, Neil, I'm dating and I'm getting back out there and I'm really enjoying it, but I have a problem once I get to that 3rd or 4th date and I realize they're not the person I want to be exclusive with or anything like that. So I don't want to ghost. I don't want to be rude. I want to be respectful, but how much of an explanation do I need to give as to why I don't want to go out anymore? Which is a great question, right? Well, and something that women struggle a lot more with than guys, because women are usually typically more considerate. And so what do you say, right? So you never want to feel like you've got to make an excuse for how you feel. Hey, you know what? This ain't it. I'm sorry. You're cool and I'm cool, but this doesn't feel like a cool thing for me together for right now. So it's not something I want to do. Or, and what I told her is have a disclaimer. Sit down on that first date and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, waiter, I'll have that glass of wine, please. Let me share with you. I'm dating a lot of people right now, and I am really enjoying getting to know a lot of people. And I'm really discovering that I enjoy letting a lot of different people get to know me, right? I've never given myself that freedom before. And so that's where I am, right? Would I want to have a long-term relationship? Sure, if it's the right person. Am I looking for A, B, and C? Yeah, if it's the right person, but I'm also cool just doing this right here, right now. So that sends him a subtle message. Okay, I'm not the only date she's going to go on this month. And maybe I'm going to hear back, maybe I'm not, but you set that bar, right? Ladies, you can set that expectation and you will be amazed with how easy and how cool he's going to be with it and ride with it once you set that expectation. There is no wrong answer for there. Whatever it is you want out of that thing, you can make it so.
So be kind and be honest.
and be assertive.
And be assertive.
Right? This is what I'm, hey dude, let me tell you, I don't like to waste a whole lot of folks' time and I ain't gonna let you waste mine. Let me tell you what I'm looking for, right? And at that point, he's gonna be like, okay. Guys like a woman who's in command. Guys like a woman who's in control. Guys like a woman who is assertive. We love that because that means you got a life of your own and I just want to be a part of that. Tell me more about that, right? And so that is an aphrodisiac like you've never seen.
Reminds me of a popular song on the radio right now, Thanking You, and Next.
Yep. Next. And it's okay, right? And it's totally okay. It's totally okay to not be the one for them right then. It's totally fine, right? Yeah. Because what you don't want to do is cheat yourself out of the opportunity because you're being Miss Nice or Mr. Nice Guy, and you let this thing you're letting this thing limp on when it should have been, done months and months and months ago. And you're also keeping them from finding the person who's really looking for them. There's somebody who's looking for the exact person who showed up. It wasn't right for you, but for somebody else, it's going to be perfect. And so let them go find that person, right? Don't cheat them out of that opportunity and don't cheat yourself out of it.
Let it go.
Let it go. Next up. What are we doing next week? Yeah.
So then talking about relationships, what are some of the secrets that you can discuss from your book as far as what it takes to really create and sustain a loving and lasting relationship?
Yeah. So, talking about love and connection, right? And so I think the big word there for me is always vulnerability. It's, your relationship, the happiness that you're going to get out of your relationship is directly proportional to the amount of yourself you're able to share, right? And that means you can't just share the good stuff, right? We don't just get sweet, sexy, funny, and smart, right? We also get childhood wounds, insecurities, and guilt. And so the more you're comfortable sharing all of those things, right? Not in a way that I need my partner to fix, not in a way that I need my partner to soothe, not in a way that I need my partner to help me come up with a game plan for something, but just in a way that helps my partner see me, right? And so it's all about why we're there. So if you're there because you want to be loved, there are only certain things you're going to share, those things that you feel about yourself that are lovable, right? I am cute and I am smart and I am sexy, right? Right? Those are the things you're going to share because those are the things that you've been taught that are lovable, but you're not going to share. But there was that time that kid said that thing in 6th grade that really changed up my process and procedure a lot. And there was that person that time who did that awful thing to me. And there's that, that dream I had that I no longer have because it kind of, fell by the wayside. We don't think those things are lovable, so we don't share those things. So if your goal is to be lovable, that's never going to work because there's parts of yourself you're never going to show. But if your goal is to simply be seen, then now you're going to share a whole lot of those things, right? And you're going to share everything and they're going to see it. And you hope A, they accept it. And then B, they love you for it, right? Not despite of it, but because of it, because you trusted them enough to go there and show. And it's like, hey, you know what? You let me all the way in and I love you for that. And so that's a show up to be seen, not to be loved. And you're going to have a much different relationship.
So intimacy. Into me,
yeah.
You see.
yes, exactly. And you've got to allow that, you've got to allow yourself to be seen. And that takes guts, that takes courage. It does, because people aren't going to like it sometimes. And you're going to get rejected sometimes, but the one, right? The one, they're going to accept all of that.
They'll hold space for you and they'll protect
right.
you and not try to destroy you with that.
They will treat it with kindness and compassion and sweetness and tenderness. Yes, indeed.
So with that being said, and all the ladies want to know, so what are some of the common blind spots, right? So in couples therapies, you also experience also on your shows. What are some of the common blind spots that you see that men have that contribute to the dysfunction in relationships?
One of the biggest blind spots is that guys never really know why you're talking to them, right? What are you talking to? Why are you saying all these words to me, right? Because women will traditionally use 2 to 3 times more words because they're more expressive, right? They articulate it, and their brains are wired to be more process oriented. We're going to go through the process, and I'm going to walk you through it, and that's how I help myself feel better with this thing. Whereas guys, we just want to skip to the end of the story, to the thing that is the thing. Just tell me the thing you want me to do, right? And so guys are just trying to figure out. They don't really know, right? So I think if I could share this with a lot of ladies, when you're gonna, it's time to tell him that thing, you're gonna tell him, right? Tell him why you need him in the room at that moment. Hey, don't need you to fix this. I just need you to listen, right? And so for guys, don't leave it up to her to be able to always drive the ship and drive the boat. Ask, hey babe, you know what? I want to hear this story about that girl from work. I really do. But let me just ask you, is there something you need me to fix, or you just want me to listen? Right? She'll tell you, hey, I don't need you to fix anything. Just listen to me. And now as a guy, you can relax in the moment and be present and be full of there, because you're not listening to try to skip to the end because you already figured out what she needs to do 2 minutes into the story. No, she don't need you to fix it. She just needs you to listen. So if you could do just that one thing, ask for clarification before you get into any conversation. What you need me to do, baby? You want me to fix this thing for you? You want me to listen to it? That's it. And you would be amazed. Half of your conversations are going to be so much more pleasant because now you're not getting the mixed signals going.
So help each other be successful. Give him the roadmap and check in and get clarification.
Right. She don't need you to fix her. She know what she need to do. She don't need you to fix it for her. She just wants you to listen. That's all. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So then, in your opinion, then, what can someone do today if they're listening or they're watching us and they want to start turning their relationship around when the other person doesn't have the same investment to do so? What would you say to that person?
Yeah. So, be able to see it for what it is, right? In relationships, we're always thinking we're never reacting in the moment. We're always reacting to the thing that happened 10 moments ago or 10 days or 10 months ago, right? We stack, we stack those emotions, we stack those hurts. And so every time it happens, it's like, here we go again, right? What is the number one question that has been asked during the Corona crisis? Study came out 2 weeks ago. Number one question is, why do you do it that way? Why you do it that way? Why you washing dishes like that? Why you chew like that? Why does your fork scrape the plate like that, right? We're getting on each other's nerves with this stuff, right? We really are. And so I think, so one of the things you've got to understand what's happening in the moment at all times and react to what's happening in the moment. Don't make it worse than it is. Don't see it more rosy and better than it is because you're scared of the option on the other side, but stay in the moment. We're doing this thing in the moment. You and me, we're keeping this much out, we're allowing this much in, but it's always you and me. Because out of everything else that goes on in your relationship, I need to know that I'm the most important person to you. And I need you to know that you're the most important person to me. So whatever else we've got going on, we can't let anything get in the way of that. Kids are going to be kids, work is going to be work, family is going to be family, friends are going to be friends, health is going to be health. Regardless of all that, you are the most important person to me, period, end of story. Hard stop. And you can't let anything cloud that.
You're the most important person to me. And letting the other person feel that they are also the most important person to you.
Right. You know them kids crazy. They probably get that from your side of the family. We ain't gonna worry about that because this is you and this is me, right? It's always you and me against them, us against them. Same team. What we teach folks on the show, same team. You and me against whatever else is coming our way. We're Bonnie and Clyde, or Clyde and Clyde, or Bonnie and Bonnie. However y'all working that out.
Sure. Whatever suits your fancy.
Right. Yep.
So then, in closing, Dr. Ish, can you share with our viewers and listeners who want to grow beyond their toxic relationship patterns, but they don't know where to start? What can you share with them?
Start where it hurts. Right? We've all got. The question is, what is it that you're pretending not to know about yourself? Start there, right? We all got that thing under the bed. We all got that thing in the closet, and we're just going to keep it there. And Because if I open it, I don't know if I can put it back in. I don't know how overwhelmed I'm going to be by it, how much is going to derail my life. But never be afraid to look at the thing that you're pretending not to know about yourself. That is how you grow, right? Because once you shine a light on it, once you open it up and take it out of the box, it's like, oh, you know what? It wasn't as bad as I thought it was, actually, right? And you will know, because it will be on your mind. It's the thing that you feel like is holding you back. And that's your brain's way of saying, hey, you know what? We're strong enough to deal with this now. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. But never be afraid to tackle that thing.
Never be afraid to tackle that thing. You heard it here from our Dr. Ish. So Dr. Ish, how can people find you or follow you?
Well, this season is a mess, so I'm trying for people not to find me. But go to my website, drishmajor.com. Got a ton of free stuff there. Got the relationship bootcamp. You guys can download, do that at your house. Go to Instagram, Dr. Ish Major, Dr.ISH_MAJR. Follow me on Twitter, here on Facebook, drishmajor.com. And of course, Thursday nights on WeTV at 9, watch the show, Marriage Bootcamp, Hip Hop Edition, and then call me with your angry comments and concerns and all of those things once it's over. It's all good.
Well, we certainly thank you, Dr. Ish. You know that, relationships are a necessary part of healthy living, but there's no such thing as a perfect relationship or mate. So relationships, from acquaintances to romances, have the potential to enrich our lives and add to our enjoyment of life. So remember, relationships need to be maintained, and healthy relationships take work, and just like fine wine. Until next time, this is your host, Janie Lacy.
Thank you for tuning in. Let's Talk About It can be heard live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Please join your host, Dr. Janie Lacy, for another edition of the show next week.